all I could do was smile with embarrassment and say yes. She proceeded to tell me everything she told Rachel, taking a sip of her scotch every once in a while and pausing to savor the moment. Then opening her eyes, letting go of the moment, she looked over at me and simply asked, "Would you like this to become a regular part of your life?" I looked over at Rachel, stunned by the question. She could see my puzzled and concerned look over the question. She said, "It's okay, baby. She and I have done a lot of talking, so don't be worried about your answer or the situation." I looked over at Nicole and said, "Yes, I really would. It is late and I am going to ask you that question one more time tonight. When you give me an answer, that is the one I will accept." I was confused and she just grinned in a way that made me nervous. We continued to talk about stuff other than the purpose for her visit. "Well, it is getting late and I haven't gotten a hotel yet. So we need to end this evening." I was just getting ready to be a good host and invite her to stay at our house, when all of a sudden she stood up and looked at me with a stern face. "If I recall, you had 7 ounces left in your bottle when I got here. Now it's time to pay up." Rachel got up, moved the coffee table and sat in my chair. I was terrified. Nicole told me to just stand there as she started to head out of the room. As she walked by me, she felt the front of my diaper, feeling how soaked it was. Her look was that of disapproval. She came back into the room carrying a small pink wooden paddle. She sat down in the center of the couch and instructed me to lay across her lap. Without a warm-up, she hit me with that paddle. I let out a yell and I thought I was going to have to push my eyes back in my head. Then came another and another. She was hitting me so hard I was screaming and crying. Rachel walked out of the room and suddenly I was worried about her. Then my focus was changed back to the pain. She paused a bit and rubbed my butt, which was more than on fire. I laid across her lap, sobbing out loud. Before I could process that, my head was pushed back down and it began again. I still screamed in pain, but all you could hear were muffled sounds. Nicole gently eased me onto the open floor where Rachel was already sitting, and Nicole came down too. I cried and cried. I know that I was crying from the intense pain, but there was more. The two of them holding me, all I could feel was a rush of emotion. The tears were coming from somewhere else inside me. I had finished sobbing and was just laying there. Rachel got up and went to the other room, returning with a diaper and nightie. Gently, Nicole, who now was Nanny in my head, rolled me onto my back. Rachel slid a fresh diaper under me and put lotion on my bottom. It really hurt. Then, pulling the diaper up and taping it closed, she leaned over and kissed me, saying, "I love you so much." Nanny leaned over and kissed me on my forehead. Then quietly and peacefully she asked, "Do you want this to be a regular part of your life?" Rachel grabbed my hand with a smile. "Yes, please." Nanny smiled and kissed me on my head again. I finally had my wits about me again and I was back into a more mature headspace. "Nicole, why don't you stay here? It's a long drive into the city and it's late. We have a spare bed and it is already made." Rachel agreed. Nicole thanked us and accepted. She then turned to me and said, "It's Nanny to you for now on." I blushed and her smile got bigger. Rachel laughed because she wasn't used to seeing me blush. As we all said goodnight, I felt like a certain part of my life was about to be even more fulfilled, and it was going to be interesting to say the least. I laid in bed with Rachel's head lying on my chest. I emotionally said, "Thank you." She looked up to me and said, "I love you so much," and we kissed each other goodnight. I fell asleep only thinking I was the luckiest guy in the world.